find wearing the mask tends to gather everything into the middle and forces my facial hair into my mouth, which is
subpar.
lovely.
This is the one thing I don't really have to deal with the court, like with the mask, is like no beard, not a problem.
No, you should try it. It's fun.
Should try the beard. You know, if I could grow one, I totally would. Like, hi, I'm Emmy.
And I'm James.
And welcome back to the Bestiary Monster Manual A through Z. And James, what are we talking about today?
We've officially hit the letter F.
Hey!
But we're back to dragons. Because today we're talking about the Faerie Dragon.
The Faerie Dragon. You know, the Monster Manual is kind of set up in hilariously weird ways when it comes to that. Like, drow are under E for elves, but there are no other elves under elves and fairy dragons. Even though shadow dragons and things like that were under dragon, fairy dragons are not. I'm cool with it. I just have questions.
Not complaining. Just
Just questions. But yeah, so this is the Faerie Dragon. They are technically true dragons. I mean, they're not true dragons in the sense that they can't become a Dracolich, although that would be adorable.
I mean, I have talked before about my idea for the short campaign, Cult of the Rainbow Dragon. Like, what if it started as a fairy dragon?
As a fairy dragon and just kept working its way up? You know, that would be the ultimate weird kind of thing that a fairy dragon would do just for the heckin' beans of it.
It would be in their nature.
But then it would maybe just become more evil as time went on. I have a million questions about how that worked. But anyway, these guys are small, tiny, cat-sized dragons with butterfly wings that turn gradually different colors through the rainbow as they age.
Yeah. So they are still, as you say, technically dragons, though with the name Faerie Dragon, with their appearance, with their nature, I think there's no way in which I say there's no way, there's a way in which you can do anything in D&D, but I see these as very much being touched by the Feywild, at least at some point in history. With the butterfly wings and the magic and the mischief and the name Fairy.
Fairy in there. You know, once again, we've gotten a weird mishmash of what different kinds of the lore we're getting here. There is no description of how the Faerie Dragon came into being. Just that they are Fey-ish in nature. So,
but I mean,
if you want to, you can have fun.
Yeah, I mean, the evidence is there. They're tiny. They have the butterfly wings. They can turn invisible. They change color as they age, becoming more powerful.
They're pranksters.
They're pranksters. They will typically be given away only by just like a tiny giggling sound in a tree nearby as they prepare to spring whatever prank or whatever they have laid for you.
Yeah, they're kind of Cheshire Cat-ish.
You know, they're definitely chaotic. Again, lending towards the sort of Fey style. And typically they're good aligned. Now, obviously, good can mean a variety of different things, and especially when the Feywild is concerned, that can mean a number of different things because the Fey is just weird. But these guys are kind of fun. But we have talked about how, for what is apparently a sort of cat-sized little butterfly-winged dragon trickster, the art makes it look so much more vicious than it apparently is.
It really does. You know, I know they wanted to have, again, that Cheshire Cat look with the grin and the smile, but there's something about the teeth and the eyes. It's intimidating. The way it's pulled back like that. Man, you know, I don't know that this one necessarily has good intents for you.
I mean, with the spines around the head, they are described as having butterfly-like wings. They still look leathery and muscular. Like, this thing doesn't look delicate. It looks like it's turning with some kind of malicious intent. And I think really it's the eyes that does it. Why did you have to give it red eyes?
I know.
That's never good.
He's very clearly looking directly at a thing and making eye contact with it. I don't know why it's so apparent in the expression to me, but it very obviously is. And this kind of gives me the heaves, which really brings me more into what these guys really, I think, are, which is ambiance. Yeah, these guys really exist to kind of let you know where you are and give you a sense for the reality that you're in, or that you might be close to the Feywild, or any number of cool and or scary and or weird kinds of things.
Yeah, and even if they're not symptomatic of anything bigger than just their own existence, they're a fun little, potentially social, potentially combat, potentially just interactable encounter for your party that just helps to enrich the world and show them the kind of creatures that exist within it. Because they are friendly and good aligned and kind of arguably cute, but like with this euphoria breath mechanic, they're also there to say, hey, I can completely distort your entire perception of reality for a little bit if I so choose.
Yeah, and if there were more than one, I mean, if we start to get into the mob mechanic, I mean, one of these guys, like we're saying, the challenge rating is not particularly high, but if you start to get into mob, just a 2 at the most, but if you start to get into the mob mechanics of these guys, it can start to be kind of nasty.
Particularly when they can all turn invisible.
Yeah. And if for whatever reason this guy does end up wanting to pick a fight with you, again, I know we're saying I don't really think it's going to be hyper common. It's more common they just might mess with you and you might see, again, the euphoria breath or something like that. But if you were to end up in a combat with these guys, it might start to get to be a little much. But again, they're more there to let you know you're near something. They exist close to things. There's a lot of room to grow with these guys.
Yeah, and even for a tiny little creature with weird leathery butterfly wings, they're still dragons, and dragons, as we keep coming back to, are characters in and of themselves. They have personalities.
This guy has high enough stats to be a person with a name.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us once again here at the Bestiary, Monster Manual A through Z. Were you a fairy dragon? What sort of prank would you play on an unwitting party of low-level adventurers? Tell us about it in the comments down below. We always love to hear from folks in our audience. And while you're there, you can hit the bell to be notified of any other content we release. You can give this video a like. You can subscribe if you're not already. Welcome to the pack. And you can also find links to our social media, including our Patreon, if you feel like supporting the Adventurers Pack a little more substantially financially. And you can check out some other videos here. And do please join us next week when we examine the Flame Skull.